You must be my next participant for the linguistics study. Yeah, syntax study. Okay, let me just see. Let me just look at the appointment book. Yeah, can you tell me your name? Alright, yeah, that looks like you here. Let me just write the time, the date. Okay, so first of all, thank you for coming. You know, we always appreciate people coming in and doing our studies. It's sometimes a little bit of a pain to find people who are willing to do these sort of silly studies that sometimes come across as a little bit repetitive, I guess, to people. So, I appreciate it. So I guess let's just get into what we need to do, what we're, like, the process in general is going to be, and you know, how we're going to do it. So first of all, I'm going to go through procedure with you, sort of a meta note, but I'm going to talk about like your rights as a participant and what we'll be doing. We'll be recording you, whether that's okay. And then I will be asking you a few questions about your background, like your linguistics background, not in terms of classes you've taken or anything, just, you know, in terms of, like, the languages you speak or are familiar with in any way. And then we'll get right into the study, which is, basically, it's basically just going to be you saying whether or not a sentence sounds super weird. It's very simple and kind of strange. So, first things first is, as I said, you're a participant in this study, and we are going to be using it for research purposes only, no commercial use. We will be recording the session, your answers, and please feel free to ask any clarifying questions about the sentences. I'll tell you whatever I can about them. You know, I can't, it's a study, so I can't tell you my opinions on it or anything, but if you have any questions, if you need me to repeat things, just let me know. And I'll also be just taking some notes as you ask questions, if that sounds good to you. Alright, and to record you and to have our recordings be usable and acceptable, I'm just going to need you to sign this sheet saying that's all fine, if that's okay. And then I will give you your copy of it, you know, carbon copy sign. Is that fine with you? Okay, so here you go, you can read that. Obviously you should read over anything you sign, but it is basically just what you'd expect to be in something like this. Yes, I consent to participate in this study. Yes, I consent to be recorded. Voice only voice recording. Does that sound good? Yeah? Okay, so if you could just sign that, that would be awesome. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Here's your copy. Yeah. You can keep that for your records. You can throw it away if you want. I don't care, it's yours. We have another copy here. Okay, so that's all of that out of the way. Next, I'm just gonna take some notes on you as a person, if that sounds okay. Okay, simple questions. So we have your name already. By the way, your name, your actual name will not be used in conjunction with anything that we write or publish or anything. You'll just be assigned a participant ID. If we need to refer to you, we'll just say this number participant. The name is really just so we can verify who we're giving compensation to and everything like that. So I'm just going to note down your participant number. It's sort of just like an ID number. We don't actually have this many participants. So, okay, first things first. Can I have your age? Okay. Yeah, what do you do? Are you a student or? Yeah, I'm not taking notes on that. I'm just asking. You don't have to answer that. I'm just curious. Okay. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. Where did you grow up? What do you consider to be your hometown? And or where did you spend the most time during your childhood? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I've lived in so many different places, it's ridiculous, so sometimes that question is really difficult to answer. And it's sort of funny because it's an important question, because I have linguistic features of my speech from all of these different weird places. So it's actually really important to know what places have been influential to you and everything like that. Yeah. What language or languages do you consider to be your native language, your home language, what you grew up speaking? That could be just English, it could be English and Spanish, it could be Japanese, it could be Javanese, it doesn't matter. And you don't necessarily have to be extremely proficient in it. So if you say, I grew up speaking Arabic at home, but I don't know how to write and my grammar's not really good just because I spoke it at home, that's fine. Just let me know and I'll write that down. So at home? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. Yeah. And can I ask what languages you are familiar with? Basically anything that you've taken classes for or studied on your own to any degree that you feel is notable, I guess. If you took 2 days of Russian, you don't necessarily have to note that unless you really got a lot out of those 2 days of Russian. I'm sorry. Yeah, so languages that you speak and are familiar with, and your proficiency level at that. And we already discussed native languages, obviously, so this would just basically be, describe it as you would like to. So, are you a beginner or basic, intermediate, advanced, conversational? Could you go around and just chat with someone? Fluent? Are you completely fluent? Could you just go live in the country the language is spoken in and operate completely on this, top level, whatever it is? So, if you took Spanish in like 9th grade and that was it and you don't remember anything, but you can ask someone how they are and order food or something, you might say basic, things like that. Okay. And you studied that for how many years? That's really cool. Okay. Next, I am going to ask about your parents and guardians, whoever you consider to have raised you and had the most linguistic influence on you, who spoke to you as a baby a lot. So this could be mother, father, multiple mothers and fathers. You could have been raised by your grandmother, aunt, uncle, whoever you think is relevant to tell me about. I'd like you to tell me about, tell me who each person is and tell me the language or the hometown that they grew up in, the area they spent the most time in. Okay. And so sorry. Sorry, I'm taking notes as fast as I can, but trying not to miss anything. And for those people, can you tell me what language or languages they grew up speaking? And that's that region, of course, yeah. You know, I guess if, you know, someone was more formally educated in the language, a lot of the time that's pretty relevant. You know, if you say you spoke Arabic and someone grew up speaking Arabic, then, you know, there's, I don't know if you know, maybe more specificity to be made in that, because Arabic has, like, modern standard Arabic, and then there are a lot of dialects that vary a lot, so maybe someone grew up speaking Egyptian Arabic, but they also speak modern standard Arabic, something like that, yeah. Okay, continue, yeah. Spoke the same thing. Okay, dope. And I always feel like I'm forgetting questions. I should have a form printed, but I don't for some reason. So your linguistic background, 2 parents. I think that's basically it. If I think of anything, I guess I'll go back and ask you if that's okay. Okay. In that case, let's move on, and I will explain the study to you. First, before I hit play on the recorder, can you turn off your phone? Ideally, power it down completely if that's okay, because you know, electric signals can really fuck up recordings. Sorry, can really mess up recordings of things, and I've made that mistake too many times. You know, obviously incoming calls are a real hindrance, but even just the sort of electric whir can be a problem. Thank you so much. Okay, so while you do that, I'm going to give you these sheets. And on these sheets, you will see about 60 sentences listed. 60. So these are going to be pages front and back. And I need you to basically just, I'm going to read the sentence out loud to you. Okay? I will read the sentence twice. If you need me to read it again, just let me know. And I want you, on a scale from 1 to 5, to let me know how acceptable the sentence sounds to you. So, basically what we're looking for is whether or not it is grammatical for you in particular. I don't mean, what would your English teacher approve of? I don't mean, you know, me and John went to the movies, and you say, no, that's not grammatical, because it should be John and I. No, I don't mean like that. I mean, like, for me to say, me and John went to the movies, that sounds fine. That's totally normal. I give that a 5. 5 out of 5, easily. Does that make sense? Yeah. We'll do a couple of test sentences that are sort of just like pretty outlandish or extremely normal, and I'll show you. So, here are your papers and a pencil, and yeah, so you'll just write 1 to 5, 1 being this is not at all acceptable. It almost gives me like chills to hear because it's so wrong, so ungrammatical. 5 being, why are you asking me this? Of course, that's totally normal to say. And everything in between, you know, 2, 3, 4. These are all pretty subjective, obviously. You know, it's sort of the issue with doing social sciences is that they are going to be largely qualitative, even when you're trying to make something a little bit more quantitative like we are now. You know, so I'm just sort of relying on you to interpret 2, 3, and 4 the way that you will. Maybe 3 being, if someone else said it, I would say that's kind of weird, and I might ask them where they're from or something, you know. 4 being, I could say that sometimes, maybe, you know what I mean. So interpret it as you need to, and make comments as you need to. We'll pick them up, and I'll try to keep some written down in my other notebook. Okay. Turn to new page for that one. So here are our test sentences. The first one is, I went to the store. I went to the store. So 1 to 5, how do you feel about that one? Do you feel like it's just a totally normal sentence? Do you feel like it's not okay at all? Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people would answer who speak English. 2, Sam loves sour cream. Sam loves sour cream. 1 to 5, what are you thinking? I'm not here to cast judgment, so I'm not saying yes, that's right, or that's wrong, or no, that's wrong. The whole thing is that we're not casting judgment. That's sort of the fun thing about linguistics, is that we're experiencing language as people actually use them, not as, people are prescribing it, and we're, linguistics is like descriptivist, not prescriptivist, all of that. Get into a surprising number of arguments with, like, English majors and things like that, people who studied English teachers and things like that. They get very, very offended when you say something like, it's not that big a deal that someone ended a sentence with a preposition. I don't know. So, I'm sorry, I'll continue. The next one is 3. Pete is some happy pigs which can fly. Pete is some happy pigs which can fly. Yeah, I can repeat that again. Pete is some happy pigs which can fly. 1 to 5? Okay, so are you sort of getting the feel of what I mean here? 4, Pete is pigs. Pete is pigs. How do you feel? Is it a 1? Is it a 5? A 3? A 2? Okay. The other thing to note is I'm not talking about whether or not, if I say, basically I'm not looking for truthfulness of a sentence or something. If you say, no, I don't agree with that, if I say, you like sour cream, obviously, don't say, no, that's not okay. I would never say that just because you don't like sour cream. It's just a sentence. It's just an example sentence. Anyway. 5, me and John went to the movies. Me and John went to the movies. 1 to 5? Okay. Yeah. However you feel about it. I know I sort of just stuck my foot in my mouth a little bit and told you how I feel about that, but maybe you actually really don't like that. That's fine. And the last example sentence, someone left their umbrella. Someone left their umbrella. 1 to 5? Your thoughts? Okay. So I think you've got the hang of this. Like I said, I'm not trying to cast a judgment on what those were. It's just sort of some things that are more, standard and regular among English speakers and people who are fluent in English. So let's get started on the real sentences. You have your sheets of paper, your pencil, and you're ready to get going. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, there are some 60 sentences. I actually inserted 2, as you can see on your sheet. I inserted 2 in this first section, which makes the number of sentences 62. Okay, so let's get started. Our first sentence is, oops, sorry. Our first sentence is, The pan needs to be washed. The pan needs to be washed. Number 2, the pan needs washing. The pan needs washing. Number 3, the pan needs washed. The pan needs washed. Yeah, they're basically supposed to have about the same meaning. Basically, these 3 sentences, which is, yeah, exactly like here. I think you've got it. Basically that there's a pan, and it's just dirty, and it must become clean. Yeah, basically they should all have that interpretation. Okay. Sounds good. Let me write that. Yeah, I mean, the interpretation of the sentence is extremely important, so please let me know and we can talk it out, I guess, you know. Okay. Number 4. The dog needed to be walked. The dog needed to be walked. Number 5. The dog needed walking. The dog needed walking. 6. The dog needed walked. The dog needed walked. Sorry. Number 7. The cat wants to be fed. The cat wants to be fed. Number 8. The cat wants feeding. The cat wants feeding. Yeah, exactly that. Number 9. The cat wants fed. The cat wants fed. The cat wants fed. Okay. Number 10, we have the cat wanted to be pet. The cat wanted to be pet. And you think, yeah, no, that's all good. And then we have A and B. The 2 I added because I somehow just messed up, I guess. A is, so we had the cat wanted to be pet. The cat wanted petting. The cat wanted petting. Yeah. And the last one, sort of following this paradigm, the cat wanted pet. The cat wanted pet. Okay, so that's our first section. And do you have any comments or questions about the process up to this point, or about this section in particular? Okay, yeah. So you were thinking. Just any kind of observations are useful, interesting. Yeah. move on to group number 2. Are you ready? All right. Oh, let me, number 1. In section 2. Number 2. So, our next one, are you ready? Okay. Number 11 is don't do this. Don't do this. Number 12 is let's do this. Let's do this. 13, let's not do this. Let's not do this. Oh, okay. Number 14 is let's don't do this. Let's don't do this. Any thoughts? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I don't mean to be yawning. Number 15, let's eat. Let's eat. Okay. Number 16, let's don't eat. Let's don't eat. Number 17, let's not to eat. Let's not to eat. Yeah, that's fine. Number 18, let's chill out. Let's chill out. Number 19, let's don't freak out. Let's don't freak out. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And number 20, the last one in this group, let's don't not chill out. Let's don't not chill out. Yeah, said again, it's let's don't not chill out. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. So that's 2 groups down. Let me know if at any point you need to take a drink, get some water, just stop listening to weird sentences for a second. Like when you study syntax, and this happens too when you're just sort of immersed in it for a bit as well, but especially when you're studying syntax, that's what you do a lot of the time. Language starts to sound really, really weird. It's sort of like it's the like sentence structure version of like if you've ever seen a word written a bunch of times or said a word a bunch of times in a row and it starts to lose all meaning, and you start thinking like if you see someone write like sponge over and over again, you start feeling sort of like sponge, what is sponge, you know, but it's like that with like sentence structure. So like every sentence sort of feels simultaneously totally fine and absolutely not fine. So you find yourself in this constant state of like, I'm speaking, is this real language or is it fake linguist language? And saying actually weird things and going, yeah, no, this is probably fine, whatever it is I'm saying. I don't know, probably fine. So if you start to feel just like, this is starting to sound like nothing to me, basically, or like I just really can't tell how I feel, let me know. We'll take a quick break. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Did I ask if you had any reflections on the second part? No, I didn't. Okay. You thought? Just not much. That's fine too. That's perfectly legit. So we're going into number 3, and that's 21 to 30. Yeah. Are you ready? Okay. 21. This place isn't fun anymore. This place isn't fun anymore. Number 22. I don't like cats anymore. I don't like cats anymore. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. You can still personally like cats. It's just an example sentence. Don't take it to think I really think you don't like cats anymore or something like that. So yeah, anyway, I don't like cats anymore. Next. 23. People are crazy anymore. People are crazy anymore. Uh-huh. Yeah, I can say it again. People are crazy anymore. Are, yeah. And you, yeah, yeah, I think that's exactly the interpretation you should be getting. That's what it means essentially. Yes, like in nowadays. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got it. 24. I don't like cake anymore. I don't like cake anymore. Number 25. I hate muffins anymore. I hate muffins anymore. Number 26. I walked the dog anymore. I walked the dog anymore. Okay. I know I'm obviously getting you on the recording and what you're saying, so I'll have that, but I'm also, I can sort of pick up on things myself as we go and everything, and it's just useful to write that down too. 27. The dog likes to bark a lot anymore. The dog likes to bark a lot anymore. 28. I hate Christmas music anymore. I hate Christmas music anymore. Yeah, like if you were working at a Hallmark store during the holiday or something, and you're just hearing it day in and day out. I hate Christmas music anymore. Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. 29. I can't listen to rock music anymore. I can't listen to rock music anymore. And last one in this section. 30. I love to travel anymore. I love to travel anymore. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, any thoughts on that section? Any just general feelings you want to get out or to talk about? Sounds like therapy. I'm sorry if there's just a ton of traffic. It's just really picking up right now, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. So you were saying? Yeah. Okay, I see. Like you, for yourself, but you know people. Who do you? Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting who we know who say things that we might not say. Things that, I guess it's not interesting talking about people who would say the things that we also would say. You know what I mean? Let's move on. Are you ready for 31 to 40? Okay. Again, this one might just really fry you because we have some sort of long ones here, okay? The kings, 31, sorry, Number 31. The king's dog ran. The king's dog ran. Can you tell me whose dog you take this to be? It's not a trick question, I promise. 32. The king's daughter's dog ran. The king's daughter's dog ran. And who do you take the dog to belong to? Number 33. The king who has a daughter's dog ran. The king who has a daughter's dog ran. And whose dog? Yeah. 34. The king who has a daughter who went to the market and bought 6 concubines and an apple's dog ran. The king who has a daughter who went to the market and bought 6 concubines and an apple's dog ran. No, I'm serious. That's the sentence. Yes, I did come up with that myself. But it's the sentence. Is it okay? Is it not? How do you feel? And whose dog is it? Okay. Sorry, 35. The king's daughter who went to the market and bought 6 concubines and an apple's dog ran. The king's daughter who went to the market and bought 6 concubines and an apple's dog ran. Yeah, for sure. 36. The farmer's daughter is nice. The farmer's daughter is nice. I'm serious here, okay? I really am. 37. The farmer daughter's is nice. The farmer daughter's is nice. Number 38. The cat's throne is large. The cat's throne is large. No. Too real long. 39. The cat who went after a mouse last Tuesday's throne is large. The cat who went after a mouse last Tuesday's throne is large. And whose throne is it? Number 40. The cat's friend's mouse's throne is large. The cat's friend's mouse's throne is large. And whose throne? Yeah. I know that those sentences are kind of silly. I mean, not kind of, they're entirely silly. I wrote them myself because, you know, when you're doing this, you get bored saying things like, Jack ate an apple. Jack's apple is red. You know, these get really boring, so spice it up a little bit sometimes, you know what I mean? That's what you do. Makes me think of, and this is actually relevant to the next section if you've already peeked ahead, don't if you haven't, but, you know, linguistics is about studying, like, literally every part of language, all of it, all the slang, all the weird stuff, everything, including everything vulgar. So one of my early, like, fun linguistics memories is when I was in my first year of college, in my first linguistics class at my university. My professor, we had 2 lectures on what is called English expletive infixation. And infixation is, do you know prefixes and suffixes? A prefix is something like like pre-dawn, you know, before dawn. And it's just a little piece of a word that goes at the beginning of a word, of a full word kind of thing. And the suffix is a little piece of a word that goes at the end of a word, like ish, you know, happy-ish, kind of happy, you know, that kind of thing. But infix is something that's just smooshed in the middle there. So infixation is inserting something into the middle of a word. So you have English expletive infixation, which basically means putting a swear word into an English word. So this would be something like abso-fucking-lutely. You know, where people say that, and it's for emphasis and everything like that. And this actually has really strictly defined rules and everything in English how you can do this. You can't just say b-fucking-ook to mean book emphasized. I don't even know what you would really mean by that in that case, I guess. But you really couldn't say it. Obviously, it just doesn't work. But basically, you know, we had 2 lectures on this in my first linguistics class in college. My professor really seemed to delight in teaching these 2 lectures like a great deal. You know, he is an older guy, very serious scholar, extremely smart. And when other professors talk about English expletive infixation, they would often use bloody or something like that, which I'm not actually sure how strong a swear that is in other kinds of English where that's a swear. I don't actually just know like the full impact of that word and whether there's a great one or not. But in American English, there's just like it's basically meaningless. I mean, it's not meaningless, it's just something we think like British people say, and it's kind of funny and not much of a swear at all. So, you know, they'll use bloody just to make it a little bit more appropriate. But this professor was not having that. He was going full force saying abso-fucking-lutely, just yelling this to this lecture hall of like, you know, 250 or whatever students, saying abso-fucking-lutely, Ben fucking Dana, he was having a blast. And I don't know, I thought it was hilarious at the time, first of all, because it just obviously was. But also, it's relevant to our next section actually, because the next section has to do with sort of vulgar phrase, well, totally vulgar phrase, and I hope that's okay with you, but we're gonna cover that, okay? Okay, are you ready? So, this part is reliant on you knowing the idiom, the shit hit the fan, and understanding that we are using it entirely idiomatically here in every case. So in no case is there ever a literal fan, is there ever a literal shit. Ever. This sounds ridiculous, but seriously, this is just a really common idiom to use for this type of exploration of certain kinds of verbs and how they act in English. I'm very serious about this. Like, it sounds so silly, but it's not. Trust me. So you understand the term "the shit hit the fan," which essentially means everything blew up. You know, generally this is used in reference to like situations where things have just gone very, very badly. So for example, Jenny told her mom she eloped and shit hit the fan, presumably because Jenny's mom really wanted to have a lavish wedding, or she doesn't like Jenny's husband or her wife, and you know, Jenny's mom freaked out and the shit hit the fan. You know, that's the kind of thing it means. Yeah, you're familiar with it, probably, right? Okay. Never is any of it literal. This is important, and it's sort of hard to keep in mind, possibly with some of the interpretations of some of these. Okay. So, let's get going then. Number 41 is simply the shit hit the fan. Yeah. Number 42. I think the shit hit the fan. I think the shit hit the fan. I'm sorry, I didn't say the number 41 twice, but presumably it's okay. Number 43. I believe the shit hit the fan. I believe the shit hit the fan. And you can explain your interpretation of this, how it might work out, and yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the other examples and things like that. Yeah, that's exactly it. Number 44. Here's, number 44. I convinced the shit to hit the fan. I convinced the shit to hit the fan. Yeah, whatever interpretation you come up with, that's sort of the thing. Remember, there's no literal thing to be convincing here. Number 45. The shit seems to have hit the fan. The shit seems to have hit the fan. Number 46. The shit wants to have hit the fan. The shit wants to have hit the fan. Number 47. The shit tried to hit the fan. The shit tried to hit the fan. Sorry about the yawning. Again. Number 48. He tried to make the shit hit the fan. He tried to make the shit hit the fan. Anything your thoughts are? Yeah, I can see that. And like I said, as you know, this is a range of judgments. So whatever seems to work for you best. It doesn't have to be a solid 5 or solid 1. Yeah. Okay. Number 49. The shit tried to have hit the fan. The shit tried to have hit the fan. And the last one in this section, 50. I expected the shit to hit the fan. I expected the shit to hit the fan. Yeah, okay. So that's 41 to 50. Do you have any thoughts on that section before we move on to our final section? Hard to interpret. That's the problem with grad school, is that you're up like every minute of every day and you never sleep, ever. So I'm tired all the time, writing papers and stuff. I can't say I wouldn't recommend it because this is clearly the life path I have taken. But choose wisely, I guess. So number 50, now we're on 51 to 60. These are our final sentences of the total 70, 68. 68 sentences, sorry. These are our last 10. Are you ready? Okay. This will also require the knowledge of another idiom, which is the cat's out of the bag. So you've probably heard this one as well, basically meaning the secret is out. Johnny told Jenny's mom that she eloped. Now the cat's out of the bag. The cat is the secret. It is out. People know about it now. Now the secret of Jenny's elopement is known, basically, you know? Yeah, okay. So we'll get to that. But that makes sense to you. And again, remember, there will never be a literal cat in this situation. There's not a literal bag at any point, okay? I know it seems so hard to separate these out, but it's really important that you do. And if you can't, if you just tell me how you're reading it as well, because that's important, you know. So 51, John persuaded it to be raining. John persuaded it to be raining. Yeah. Number 52. John expected it to be raining. John expected it to be raining. Number 53. The cat is out of the bag. The cat is out of the bag. And you're fine with that idiom moving forward. You're fine with that idiom, yeah? Okay, great. The cat thinks that it is out of the bag. The cat thinks that it is out of the bag. There's no literal cat, right? Okay, and that's, and you can leave that comment. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, like, this is that's the thing. Having comments from participants is really, really useful and important, and it is absolutely something that we can use and incorporate and take note of and think of. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that was the cat thinks that it is out of the bag. Okay. Number 55. John expected tabs to be kept on him by the FBI. John expected tabs to be kept on him by the FBI. Yeah, I guess that's the problem, is that, like, metaphors and things like that are just a constant and everywhere. But yeah, in this case, keeping tabs means watching him. Yeah, you got it, perfect. 56. John persuaded tabs to be kept on him by the FBI. John persuaded tabs to be kept on him by the FBI. Right. 57. We have John expected the FBI to keep tabs on him. John expected the FBI to keep tabs on him. Yeah, I notice now it's taken like a very secret agent turn, but yeah. 58. John persuaded the FBI to keep tabs on him. John persuaded the FBI to keep tabs on him. Oop. Sorry. Number 59. Now we have John expected the cat to be out of the bag. Again, we're going back to that idiom. I'm sorry. I should have kind of kept that up there, but I didn't. John expected the cat to be out of the bag. John expected the cat to be out of the bag. And 60, our last one. Very last one, I promise. This is it. I know I said 60 sentences at first. It ended up being 68 with the example sentences and the 2 I forgot to add originally. But now we're on number 60/68, and then we're done, okay? Okay. John persuaded the cat to be out of the bag. John persuaded the cat to be out of the bag. Right. And since that's our last one, that's 60, do you have any comments on that section, 51 through 60? Anything in the last, 10 sentences? we're done. You made it. That is it for our things. Basically, I'm just gonna, take them and work on some papers I have and some research that I'm working on. Yeah, I said a lot of these, some of them are general sort of syntactic issues that occur to most people in English, and particularly in this case in English. Some things extending to other languages, being similar in other languages, of course, but, for example, saying things like, John persuaded it to be raining, it actually doesn't mean anything, so there's nothing for John to persuade, so most people will get a feeling that that's weird. Or, the shit tried to hit the fan. That only works if there is a live being that is the shit, that has agency, basically. The only way to interpret some of them is if you force agency. So I think that's how a lot of people interpret it. The question, just kind of looking into it a little bit more. I'm serious, those are really, really real things. If you look up, the shit hit the fan, raising and control verbs, you will come up with a lot of stuff. But a lot of the other things are like regional variants. So where we have like, the pan needs to be washed, the pan needs washing, and the pan needs washed. Lots of people see, the pan needs to be washed as being pretty standard, and most people, like lots of people, will accept it. The pan needs washing, for me personally, that sounds very British, I guess. I don't know who all says that, but for me it sounds like pretty British. The pan needs washed. That is just extremely grating. That is just extremely grating to some people. Saying things like the pan needs washed, the dishes need washed or cleaned, the dog needs walked. I say it regularly. I say things like that very, very, very frequently. But, or like another example is in our third section, we had any more used. We have, in this case, instances of what is called positive any more. So typically any more is used with a negating element, such as this place isn't fun anymore, like it is not, and that lets us know that at this point in time it is not fun. It was fun before, it's not now. But some people find it okay to say things like people are crazy anymore, meaning something like nowadays, so meaning like people were not crazy, or at least they were less crazy, but now people are really crazy. Something sort of like that. That's another one that I use somewhat, well, I don't know. It's it's I think mostly associated with like Pennsylvania, which I'm definitely not from Pennsylvania. But yeah, basically I'm pretty stoked. I'm gonna go do a bunch of syntax trees and stuff. If you know those. I don't know, did you diagram sentences when you were in like elementary school? I didn't, but I hear people did this, where you would identify the subject and object and verb and everything. Well, like, I don't do that, but I tree them so you see a hierarchical structure of language, of sentences. So like you can say like, I watched TV, let's say I watched TV. And then you end up doing something like, S stands for sentence. This is sort of your, I'm going to call your basic bitch syntax tree, because I would use something else and make it really unnecessarily complicated, doing like my normal generative grammar stuff. Generative grammar being like, surely you know Noam Chomsky? Yeah, like not all the political stuff, but his linguistic stuff. And, it's a lot of Chomsky stuff in syntax. So you have your sentence that goes, because we have to define our subject, and that is a NP or noun phrase, and then that just goes down to, in the noun phrase we have an N, a noun, which is just I, And then we have a verb phrase. But the verb phrase actually contains this whole bit, watched TV. So then in our verb phrase, we go down, we have a verb, watched. And again, we have like another noun phrase. Even though these are only one word, you know, sometimes they have these branches, sometimes they don't. And then that just goes down to your noun, TV. You know, so you can do that for English and just have that hierarchical structure there, showing the syntax, sentence order and everything. But you know, you also can do this for other languages and see, you know, the structure hierarchically is very similar, even if word order is quite different. So I don't know, if you take an example like say, 私はテレビを見ました. It's I watched TV in Japanese. You sort of just do the same thing. You have your sentence, it goes down to your noun phrase, which is just 私 is I. And then 私. And then you have your verb phrase. This whole, let's just say, well, we'll just put that there because it's just a thing. We'll pretend terebi is together too. So then, you know, you have this whole thing is together, the terebi o mimashita, under your verb phrase, because terebi is your object, and your object is contained in the verb. I might not be explaining this the best, and you're probably just like, can you give me my money and let me leave, please? But I'm almost done, I swear. You know, your verb phrase goes down, and where in English we had it go down to the verb here, we see that the verb, you know, isn't really, it's not coming first. So we don't want to show it going down first like that. The verb is still going to be hierarchically higher than the object, but it doesn't come first when you speak. You know, so in the case of Japanese, instead of the verb going there, we actually have another noun phrase, which includes terebi or TV. Terebi o mimashita. And then you have your verb that just goes down to mimashita. Shita. Yeah, things like that. But yeah, I know. I think it's super fun. I'm sorry, I'm holding you hostage. I just love syntax that much, that's all. So, yes, why don't you give me your papers? I'll take those and keep them in your file. Let me take out your profile and the notes I took on your stuff. And then I have this envelope here with your money in it that you can I'm just going to write your name on it. And here's your participant number. And I just need you to sign to say that you got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just right here. She gave me the money, basically. Yeah. So that's great. Here you are. I'll just give that to you. And, you know, basic spiel. Basically, we have research opportunities all the time. I would love it if you kept an eye on our research website, or just kept an eye outside in the department bulletin board, just to see, you know, we have those papers that have little pieces of paper you can pull up, I guess, with details about who to contact and everything. I guess now you already know who to contact. But if you ever feel like participating in some more research, we have all kinds of stuff. You know, we have phonology and syntax studies, but we also have things like phonetics. Phonetics does sort of cooler stuff. Sometimes they do things like tongue ultrasounds, like what you use to see the baby, you know, when someone's pregnant. But you know, you sort of put the ultrasound wand here and you can see the tongue, and I'm not really sure what it's for. I'm not a phonetician. I don't know anything about that. But people have all kinds of, you know, research opportunities all the time, and we would just love it if you continue to keep an eye out and just, you know, wanted to participate, contribute to science, and also get some beer money for you or whatever. Yeah, anyway, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for humoring me as well. And I hope I'll see you around. Yeah, thank you.